are back. Welcome, everyone, to the ROI Podcast, presented by the Kelley School of Business on the IUPUI campus here in downtown Indianapolis. I'm Shane Simmons. Julie Manning-Magid is back. She is a professor of business law at the Kelley School and director of the Randall L. Tobias Leadership Center. Welcome back, Julie.
Thanks, Shane. It's so good to be here with you.
Glad to have you here. And here's a question I have to all of our listeners out there, and this is how I'm going to start today's show. To you in the podcast universe listening, how many of you don't like your job? Think about that. Are you excited to get into the office every morning, or do you dread that feeling?
I don't like my job, and I don't think I'm going to go anymore.
Does the idea of going to work light that fire inside of you? For some of you, your job may do this, and you're the lucky ones. But I know some of you out there just don't feel this way. Well, this episode is going to explain how important that passionate feeling we're talking about is when performing your job, especially as a manager.
Today, you'll be introduced to Pete Anderson, Executive Vice President of Investments at Becknell Industrial in Carmel, Indiana.
It's all industrial business, and really my role at the company is historically it's been a build-to-suit company. So we've had a certain list of customers, and we've gone all around the country building buildings.
Pete will be talking about his experiences as a leader and giving all of us insight on the critical importance that passion plays into your career.
I tell my kids, and I tell anybody that I work with is, if you can't wait to get up and come in here and work or do your job or whatever it is, and I'm probably using the wrong words, work and job. To me, this isn't a job, it's not work. I mean, I love to come here. But the day that starts changing and you feel like it's kind of more of a rote assignment, or, I'd rather be on the weekend or whatever and can't wait to not be here, it's probably a good signal that it's not something for you. And I just really encourage everybody to pursue your passions, because it doesn't matter what you do. If you're really happy doing it, you're going to be good at it, because it's not work.
But it wasn't always that way. Pete once worked in an unsatisfying job and didn't have that excitement he wanted in his career. This was back when he was practicing law.
But I think I found I really just didn't, the substance of the law wasn't something I really was excited about. The intellectual part of it, yeah, coming in and talking about some issue or whatever. But also, the engineer in me got back to is like, I'm not making anything. I'm not, there's no product at the end of the day or whatever. So that's how I kind of went up in real estate, I think. And I've never looked back.
That's great that he knew his old career wasn't fulfilling his career aspirations. But not everyone is so lucky, Julie. I pulled up an article that was written last year in the Huffington Post, and it talked about a study that suggested job-related dissatisfaction actually was harmful on your health. So people who had job dissatisfaction in their 20s and their 30s had a much higher chance of health issues once they surpassed the age of 40. So there's some real health consequences when you are not happy with your job.
Absolutely. You spend a significant amount of your awake time working, and that has to be a satisfying experience, or it's bound to have implications not only on your health but other aspects of your life.
But like we said, luckily for Pete, he found that what he was doing before just wasn't getting it done for him. So that's the first tip we have here in this episode. Find your passion. Follow whatever that may be.
And once Pete figured out what he wanted to do, he knew he needed to ramp up his leadership skills. That's when he came to the Tobias Leadership Center's Hoosier Fellows Program.
I think I was introduced to Hoosier Fellows in part because I was looking for an opportunity like that to enhance my leadership skills, but also I was in one right there where I felt like the situation could benefit from listening to others and maybe how they worked around situations.
And with the Fellows Program focusing on an inward look at leadership, Pete was able to surround himself with many different people across several sectors. And this is something different for most people. Usually, they are looking at an issue or topic in one way when there are actually many different ways to look at an issue.
Before I went to the leadership program, a lot of the learning and engagement I did was subject-oriented towards a career path, like a law or engineering or whatever. And I don't think at the age I was, even if I had taken a class on leadership, I might not have known what to expect or how to apply it or even to appreciate it. And I do think at the time I took that class, it was a great time for me to do it because I was confronting some challenges we talked about. And I think I just came at it with a completely different perspective.
And that's the perspective that helped ignite his passion. And that's Pete's main takeaway for all of you. He's accomplished a lot. And he says if it weren't for his love of what he does, that wouldn't be possible.
I've told my daughter, you kiss a lot of frogs to find the prince, right? So same thing in your career. I think it used to be kind of verboten that you would look at an opportunity or a job as just, I need to experience what this is about, and then I'm going to go do this at 3 other places, and then I'll figure out where my passions are, and my career path will figure itself out. I think the days are gone when, my dad went to work for one company after he graduated from college, and he retired from that company. That loyalty doesn't exist from the company's point of view anymore, and so I think it's unreasonable to expect that it should exist from the employee's point of view, but it's probably better that way because I don't think my dad retired a really happy person in his work life. He grew to become frustrated. He probably felt like, did he find his passion? He even talked about being a dentist, for God's sake. He was an engineer. And, I feel lucky because I tried some different things and pursued a lot of different opportunities and angles that I found my true passion, my love, right? And just as the, kissing a lot of frogs, right? I mean, I think that's what you have to do.
That analogy of kissing all these frogs is great. It just cracks me up. But it makes sense. You really may not know what you want to do unless you try a few different things. So don't be afraid to do so, and don't feel like you have this one trajectory in your career that you have to follow because that's what you started with maybe in the beginning. Test out a few different things, find out what you really enjoy, and then from there, the momentum can really take you and you can do a lot of great stuff.
Once you find enjoyment and the job that you're really passionate about, it won't feel so much like a job every day. And that's when you can really begin accomplishing the extraordinary. Of course, even the job that you love and are passionate about has bad days, but look for a job that fulfills you for the most part.
And another episode of the ROI Podcast is now in the books.
Thank you to Pete Anderson for coming to the show with us today. I think we can all learn from his experiences and grow in our passion for our career.
Definitely. And before we close out, I'd like to thank all of you out there who support the podcast, and we would love for you to go to iTunes and subscribe and leave us a review. And also, if you're wanting to learn more about the Tobias Leadership Center and the Hoosier Fellows Program, be sure to go to tobiascenter.iu.edu/programs. Again, that's tobiascenter.iu.edu/programs. We'll talk to you all next week.